California, also known as the Golden State, has made its mark on the world, becoming a major destination for people from all across the globe, including such grand cities such as Sacramento, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. While everyone is busy on the beaches or on Hollywood Boulevard, hidden in plain sight away from all the hustle and bustle lie the small farming communities of Northern California, with not much to show, but with a ton to offer. About 40 miles north of Sacramento, along Interstate 5, is the small town of Arbuckle. Keep your eyes open or you might miss it. This small town, once a booming stop along the railroad, still retains all of the charm you may expect in a little farming community, but still seeks the efforts needed to come back to life as it once was many years ago. In 1875, when the citizens in the young town of College City declined the construction of the Northern Railroad to come through their community, a nearby landowner and cattle farmer took the offer for the railroad and the land to start his own town. Tacitus Ryland Arbuckle, a Missouri native born March 6, 1835, traveled to California where he met and married the mother of his 13 children, another Missouri native, Amanda Melvina Tinker. The two settled on the 7,320 acres of land granted to them and began selling lots starting at $25 each. With the depot completed, the first passenger train entered town on July 4, 1876. The same year, the post office opened, and Mr. Arbuckle was the first postmaster until 1884. By the end of the first year, the population grew to 300 people, and the town was coming to life. Tacitus had built a new life in a growing town, but in the late 1880s, he moved his family out of Arbuckle, where he spent the rest of his days in Siskiyou County until 1899. Many of the residents who share the same love for Arbuckle recall the days of yore, when this same town was much different.
I'm Ed Martinez. I have lived in Arbuckle most of my life. I grew up here, went to school through the schools here, and taught for about 40 years at the high school.
My name is Donna Green. I moved to Arbuckle as a outside bride moving into town. By outside, I mean new blood. So many people live here and grew up here. 1975.
Hi, my name is Linda Masuhara. I live here in Arbuckle. I moved here in 2012. I grew up in Sacramento and then moved to Southern California in my mid-30s and then moved back to Northern California and did not want to be in the Sacramento area, not even in the Yolo County area. I wanted a small town, and so I started looking at property in Colusa County and found Arbuckle, looking for an old house. We've been restoring it since 2011.
I could probably name at least 25 businesses that used to thrive right here along this main street. Trains used to come by here regularly. Here I think we got like two or three a day, but trains used to come by here all the time.
I would say Arbuckle in some ways has changed and in other ways has not. One of the good things about Arbuckle is that it has not kept up pace with the rest of the world in terms of materialism, in terms of socioeconomic strata. It is very much a community that feels like one big family, and that's very evident when there is a tragedy or somebody needs help or a celebration.
Just as the town began to settle, the 1950s saw the construction of the freeway as it came through and changed everything. Most of the older homes and buildings remain untouched, while many in the path of the interstate were uprooted and moved to their new properties.
Once the freeway came in and kind of, bypassed the town, there are still people that, you'll mention that you're from Arbuckle and I'll say, where's that? Or they'll remember, oh, that's the town that you don't see, because you go underneath it. People no longer came through the main street. They were barely aware that there was a town here.
This is Arbuckle today. Some of the same buildings still stand today as they did over 100 years ago, many currently vacant and with their original paint.
I would love to see those buildings just more than just a cosmetic, not just slapping paint on them, but I think that they structurally need to be fixed back to what maybe they used to be. Arbuckle needs facelift. It needs somebody to give it some tender loving care with a facelift. It's a great town that has amazing qualities about it, but when you get off the freeway, you might not see the architecture of the downtown area. And so I think it's very misleading what kind of a town this is when you drive into town. I actually had somebody refer to it as a ghost town. What is this, a ghost town? And it's like, no, it's far from that, but it does look that way when you get off the freeway.
We've said goodbye to some old favorites while new additions spruce up the town.
Much of what is done around here is done with volunteerism, the generosity of donors, businesses, individuals, farming entities, children. If something is going on in town, there's this huge outpouring of interest, of support, of how can I help? When we lost Natalie Corona, a young police officer, just last year, the streets were absolutely lined for the funeral procession as she was buried here. All ages, I mean, the respect that was shown for one of our own who wore a badge and died in the line of duty. There's just no end to the dedication of local people. Yes, we are one big family. Yes, we all know everything about everybody, but everybody also has your back.
I remember when I was teaching, kids would say, hey, everybody knows you, everybody knows what you're doing. But that's a nice thing in that you knew that if something happened and one of your kids needed help, there was always somebody there.
I think there's a deepening sense of pride in who we are as a rural community.
In 2001, citizens from around town teamed up with a vision to refresh, restore, and revitalize downtown Arbuckle. This is the Arbuckle Revitalization Committee. They have erected new parks in town, including Wee Park, which boasts the Welcome to Arbuckle sign, the Veterans Memorial, and Lavanch Hirsch.
It makes me proud to drive down Main Street and see the monument to the veterans, to see the American flag, to have grass and things that are landscaped in the Lavanch Hirsch, pavilion, that kind of thing. It makes me feel good about people driving through or whatever. That's like, oh, what a nice little town, you know what I mean?
Funds have been raised by hosting events downtown to attract neighbors and bring the townsfolk back into the community. The car show, Carnitas Cook-Off, and the Pumpkin Festival are a few of the bigger turnouts.
One of the things I love about Arbuckle is just that when there is something, the whole town comes out. Like for the Carnitas Cook-Off, the whole town comes out for it. For the high school homecoming parade, the whole town comes out.
The annual car show.
The car show, yeah.
The next big goal is to restore the Southern Pacific Depot, which is the oldest building currently in town.
A long project that's been long in people's minds and just hasn't quite come to fruition is the restoration of the railroad depot right smack dab in the middle of town.
The committee obtained the building for $1 many years ago and recently purchased the land the depot sits on so they can continue their project.
I remember one thing that fascinated me when I was a kid was walking by and hearing sending or receiving a telegram. You could hear it just like in the movies, a tap, tap, tap. And, it was a long time ago and it was, old school. It's just a real shame that it's in such bad disrepair.
That railroad depot is literally at the heart of who we are and how we came to be. And so I see the restoration of it not just being from a historical standpoint and a source of pride to our community, but as a possible infusion of funds from tourism coming by to see it. I see the possibility of like Arbuckle Train Day, where all of these fans of railroads, model railroads, etc., could come and have vendors and celebrate railroading and the impact and the influence that railroading had in California and our national history. I just see it as having great potential. It's just hard to get everything going.
She has stood strong for 144 years, but the last few seem to have hit hard. The dreams for the depot are big, but time is running out. The committee has been working hard to try to conjure enough funds to get the depot moved away from the railroad tracks and onto a safe new foundation. This means a lot to the people here to see both history saved and possibly another new storefront or gathering place for community members.
I've lived in this town most of my life. I love this town, and I would like to see it. Anything that would help us here in town would be a plus.
I just think it's a great little town, and I would love to see a facelift given to it.
Yeah, that would be nice.
It's a great community, and it doesn't look like it when you get off the freeway that it's such a great place.
One thing I would love to add, and that is, when I moved here, I met people who were second, third, fourth. There's a gal a couple doors down who's like the 7th generation that has lived here. And I'm really excited because that noise you hear in the background is my grandson who is growing up, and how fun it is to be able to share the homecoming parade, the games, the local coffee shop, the Mexican restaurant, and to be able to share those kinds of things with another generation of our family that's going to grow up for at least some years in Arbuckle.
What our future has in store, we don't know. But one thing we do know for sure is that whether we change, whether we dwindle down, or if we stay the same small community that we know, we the citizens will always have a never-ending love for the small town of Arbuckle.